Hi guys, I want to make this important announcement that the most important part of this video you're about to watch is at the end. So in case you're watching this after the premiere, then you want to see the last statement made. I'll see you there. Thank you so much for coming on this program, to this program today. God
Thank you,
bless you.
sir. Bless you too, sir.
The first time I heard about you, I got a call that someone was about to end their life. That was the first time I was getting to meet you in person. And then we spoke. And you narrated some of your stories then.
Yes,
You're ready to share it with us today.
yes, sir.
The floor is yours.
Okay, sir. Thank you, Apostle, for having me come over here to share my story so as to serve as sort of healing to those out there who might be going through similar things.
Yeah,
Just to tell them that all hope is not lost.
yeah,
There is still hope. Healing is still possible.
yeah.
So before I get to the part of when I wanted to commit suicide, before you called and everything, I need to give a little background because I can't really talk about that without talking about my background. I come from a family of 4 kids. I'm the first child. And as far as I can tell or know, this thing called love, this thing called parental love, I don't think I've experienced it before. And I will say the weapon formed against anybody or that can be formed against anybody in this life, I think is coming from a dysfunctional background like mine. Because it is one thing for people outside to hate on you, you know, but you having that belief that you have a family, you have a place to go back to where people love you and cherish you. But the hate, the opposition, the everything now coming from your own family where you're supposed to be shown love is something that can't really be explained. And I don't think I will even pray for even my worst enemy to experience such. So I come from a family of 4. I'm the first child. We are 2 girls, two boys. The second one is a boy. I can't really say this is where I wronged, especially my dad. My both parents, my mom still cares, but she's too submissive and too scared to show me love or affection when my dad is around. I cannot really say this is the thing I did wrong. From very tender age, I've always known my dad to love my siblings more than me. In actions, in everything he does. I think his favorite in the house is our third born, which is my younger sister. So this thing started from, as far as I can remember, from very small age. You know, then they'll say, it's because you don't used to hear word now, it's stubbornness, it's this, that. To the point of when I became a full-grown woman, to now understand that, no, there is more to this. It cannot be because of stubbornness or anything like that. The stories are just, I'm still trying to look for where to begin. So I will begin from secondary school. My dad is the type that he caged, I can't say he caged all of us. My siblings, they have that freedom that I didn't have. If I go to school, my dad is at home checking time. Anything past 2, even if it's 1 minute, I'm not at home. The kind of beating I will receive that day. It doesn't matter for her extra moral classes. Yeah. It doesn't matter. He will so beat me, not just beat me. He will beat me and also send me out of the house. Whether I come back alive or should anything happen to me, it didn't really matter to him. So I grew up with that consciousness that nobody really liked me. This thing continued like that. It got to a point where I will be in the house, nobody talks to me. Like I'll wake up in the morning, I'll greet my mom. She will not respond because my dad is seated there. If she does, I even tell her to leave the house. So why is it always you? Why? What is that thing that my younger ones are doing differently that is making him love them? But what is that thing that I'm doing wrong that is making him hate me? Because if they ask you, say it's my attitude, my character. Where and where? My dad is the type that if he hears anything about, like I was not allowed to have friends. Female friends visit me, he'll say they are connecting me to guys. Male friends visit me, is either they are my boyfriend or they are trying to connect me to boyfriends too. It continued. There was this particular time. It became a normal thing in the area. Everybody know once you start hearing shout from our house, they will know that it's Tina they are beating now. What has she done again this time? That would be the question. That used to be the question on people's lips. It got to a point that even neighbors will have to call me aside to ask me, are you sure these people are your parents? Because actually my parents are young. They got married at a very early age. And I will tell them they are my parents. So how comes? Why is it that your dad hates you this much? And I will tell them, I don't know. So it continued that way until I think my JS2. There was this particular day, he so beat me. He so beat me that he gave me another big, I think on this side, it has cleaned now, a very big mark on the face. And he cautioned my younger ones not to come close to me. There was no name he didn't call me, prostitute or this, that. And there's something that hurts me most in this life is when I'm not guilty of something and you accuse me of it. So it got so bad that even people in the area started telling their kids to stay far from me.
Wow.
So it got to a point that particular day, I could no longer bear it because I just got tired of the whole thing. And I decided to take my own life. I started first by writing.
You decided to end your life?
Yes. Because to me, what was the need? There was no need of living. When the only family I know maltreats me as if there is something I've done that is not worth forgiving. So I drank. Then my mom used to sell kerosene. It was at that time that my younger brother was admitted in the hospital. So I think I was the only one at home with my siblings. So the kind of kerosene I drank, I think I drank more than 1 liter, actually. Wow. Wrote down notes and told them that I was tired. Think it would be best for me to die and go and rest. I think somebody came to the house to come buy kerosene and the person saw me on the ground, shaking, jacking. That was when the person now called the attention of other neighbors and I was rushed to the hospital. That was how I was rescued. My dad got there and was like, why didn't you die?
Huh?
Yes. He said, why didn't you die? That the doctors should have allowed me to die. Why did they have to rescue me? So they even had to start talking to him. Why would you say that? My dad has told me severally that the day I will die, he will wear his best clothes. Yeah, he has told me that severally. not first time, nothing. So after that incident, he stopped me. Because another thing he used to do is, whenever there is issue like that, he will tell me no more school because I like school now. So that is the only way. He feels without education, I cannot amount to anything. So this thing continued to the point that my mom will sit with my younger one and be gisting, laughing. But the moment I come, even if I talk, they will not answer me because my dad is around. And she's the, that old in this way of submitting totally, you don't question. She's that type. Not that she's happy about the whole thing, but she did. Yes. So it continued that way. It got to a point that my school teachers had to come to the home to beg. Then finally he allowed me. Myself and my dad, we cannot be in the same space for 1 month peacefully. It's not possible. It's not possible. No matter the person that intervened, we can't. It's not. See, that thing, there is this trigger. Once he sees me, it's as if he has seen one devil. He doesn't want me around him at all. So that was our SS3. He said he heard rumor that I had a boyfriend then. Me that I don't even date anybody back then in school. And once he hears anything, he doesn't even need to hear anything, but at times he makes up. Yes. And that was how he said, since I've chosen that path, no more school. This thing, I was home for like, I think about 2 years, 3 years. No school. And I'll go out, I'll see my mates going to school. And I wanted to go to school to further my education. It got to a point that I could no longer bear it. So I now bought form with the little money I saved up then, bought poly form, got admission to do my ND. Now I will be in the room, he does not talk to me. I wake up in the morning, I greet him for where he will not answer. Same thing with my younger one, they so disrespect me that we have issue with them. He will come back home and tell them, why didn't you beat her very well? It was me. He will tell my younger ones, why didn't you beat her very well? It was that bad. So I got admission. My uncle, his younger brother, helped me with money for school fees then. It was the same month I got admission. One day like that, they brought up issue of marriage. And I've always wanted to get married. Maybe as a way of escape. I didn't see thank God for the experiences and the things I know now. I keep telling myself, now that I know better, I must do better. I've always wanted to get married, have my own home, just as means of running away from my... Yes. So they brought up issue of marriage. And the unfortunate part is, this person is from my place. Haven't seen the way my dad acts towards me, even towards my mom, the way he behaves. I vowed that I will never marry anybody from my place. It's not just about my dad. I've observed with people from my place. It's like, it's a common thing for them. Women don't really have say there. So they can do and undo without anybody questioning them. So when that issue of marriage came up, and they said, because our place mostly is arranged marriage that they do, you don't really need to know the person. So when they now told me the person from my place, I say, me that say I will not marry from my place, no. So I didn't want to do it. It took the effort of my neighbors around. We heard that somebody wants to marry and you're saying you don't want to get married. Is it that you are not tired of the beating and everything you receive in this house?
Are you saying that even at marriageable age, you are still being beaten?
Even after giving birth.
Huh?
Yes, sir. Even after
Who beat
giving...
you?
My dad. You so beat... Okay. It was that so bad that even when I was pregnant with my child then, at the point of labor, I was in labor midnight. He refused to take me to the hospital because he wanted me dead. He refused to take me to the hospital. So it was that bad. Even when this person came, I said, no, all this. My mom was part of those that advised. So and you dare not question my dad. Who are you to question him? Even me, because it's not just that he beats me. He will beat and curse you. So just to imagine me in Polytechnic, I didn't even have a bank account. You dare not, like, the way I was caged. So we got to that point of marriage. So I didn't want to say no. Because I've never thought of marrying from my place. But along the line, we got talking and I just started developing likeness and interest in the person. And that was how we courted. It was a long distance courtship because I was in Sokoto, he was in Abuja. So it was more like over phone conversation. So we courted until the whole plan was that immediately after my ND, they will finish, they will do the wedding, then we'll go and I further. In that process, the issue I had with my dad, because for this person now to now send me money there, you have to use my dad's account. It's not like now that you can send money from just anywhere. It was not just my dad's account, because I think he had this UBA account. I think then before you can send money, it has to be from that bank. I can't really remember, but it's not as easy.
Hello.
Yes.
You have to go over the counter.
Yes. So the only bank in his own axis then was, I think, UBA. My dad didn't have a UBA account. So my dad has this female friend, and not just female friend, that all of us know about. So he uses her account to collect money before delivering any message. Like, it so got to me that I could no longer, you can't disrespect my mom, disrespect all of her, and then continue this way. And I didn't have account because I was not allowed to have accounts. I was not on social media, nothing at all. That was how I now used, one day he was to send me money and I used my neighbor's account. Because of that, the kind of beating I received and curses I received, I was even sent out of the house. People like had to intervene because he said I wanted to show him that I had arrived. If not, why would I send another person's account? So for my first account, it took stubbornness for me. Because my friends one day from school just said, let's go and open an account. And that was how we got to the bank, opened the account. So the whole thing after my ND, this whole thing continued. Even for me to go and know my would-be in-laws then, it was a problem. He said I was not allowed to travel. How will I marry into a family that I don't know them? We've not met one-on-one. It's not done that way. So people had to intervene again each time. And one thing about my dad is he will not just beat you. Even my mom, I just remember there was a day my mom bought deep freezer. Our fridge then had issue. So she kept saving up money in one contribution like that. We all knew, but she wanted to surprise him. My mom bought deep freezer, brought some. Because of that deep freezer, their marriage almost ended. Yes. It took the intervention of kingsmen, people, just because of deep freezer. He said she wants to show him that she now has money. She has arrived. There's this ego thing again there. So with all this, there was a time I wrote him, like, I can't face my dad. I still find it very difficult. I try it now to look at people in the eye. Because of my upbringing. That was how I was raised. You dare not challenge my dad or anything. Because of that deep freezer issue, I remember writing him a letter. I could not even give him that letter myself. I had to send my younger sister to deliver the letter. Because of that, later again, I received another kind of curse. I received, like, he called the entire village, heard about it. But one thing about it, he will not just beat
him a
you.
letter.
Yes, we're living in the same house, but because I had
What was in the
always
letter?
about the way, especially the way he treats my mom, the way we behave as a family, you know, how he's too aggressive towards us, especially me, and especially my mom, with everything they've been through, how he can be more loving, and he's a lover girl. Because me lover girl. That's why I want to be the one to teach him how to love. So because of that later he called the entire village to say I insulted him. We kept having issues. So finally, when they intervened, back to when I was supposed to go see my would-be in-laws then, people finally intervened. I was allowed to travel. I traveled, went, came back. The money I was gifted, I told my mom. My mom already told him. He waited 2 days after. Before you know, he has called meeting again. You could be in the house. Just once you start seeing people coming in, just know that another issue has started. Yes. So people. The next thing, he started laying curses. Why would I travel? They will gift me money. I didn't show him. This is that. That night, I think this whole thing started around either 9 something or so. My siblings were already asleep. So I now had to ask him, Daddy, what is that thing? Where did I offend you in particular that you find it so difficult to forgive? What is that thing? Because it's not as if we have this rapport or good relationship. Even when we want something, especially me, I will have to send my younger sister. I pass message across to my mom. My mom already told you. Because of that one, he got up and beat me. So my younger brother, which is our second born, they were all asleep. That one got up that day. That one went to challenge him. If this girl is not your daughter, tell us. What has she done this time? He said, is it because we've been keeping quiet every time? He now said, oh, so you two, you've grown now. You want to challenge me. He said, because of that, the same fate that befell her will befall you too. And I think my brother was in SS2 or SS3. The fate of not sending me to school. Yes. And the unfortunate thing is, we are different. I picked that as challenge.
If I may say something at this point, there is something very terrible about patriarchal understanding in Africa. The idea of fatherhood, which is void of accountability, and the assumption that anything can be done because I want the children.
Yes.
And this has caused a lot of disconnect in many homes. And you know why I'm saying this? Unfortunately, there are many young men who are dressed in fine suits but still carry this old mentality.
Yes, sir.
You know, that you can wake up suddenly and tell your children, I'm your father, I withdraw this, I withdraw that. And these things don't go away.
Yes, sir.
Now, if I may ask, I'd like you to run us through the effect of this background. Did it affect your marriage?
I think it's part of the reason why my marriage actually crashed. I got married in 2014.
10 years ago.
Yes, and the marriage crashed 2015.
1 year after.
Yeah, it even crashed before then, but officially I filed for divorce 2015 because we tried to manage the whole thing. It's just my dad again. My dad played the major role in it.
Sorry, come again. He played the major role in what?
Yes.
In what?
In crashing the marriage.
How?
Okay. After we got married, Okay, I think about a month to when we're supposed to get married. My ex-husband came down to Sokoto for final arrangements. And before then, there's this attitude I began noticing about him. So then I had graduated and I just told myself, with everything safe, let me just further my education. This marriage I can do without it. Because it got to a point that any small thing my dad would threaten me with marriage. I would call off the marriage. So I said, the marriage is not even my life. So let me call it off. So he came to Sokoto for us to finalize plans. The wedding was just about 1 month away. Then, like I said, I can't stay in the same space with my dad for 1 month without issue. So we'll be in the house. His malice all true.
Yeah.
So we already had another issue before that guy came. So when he came, in the presence of my mom, he was eating. I just told him, I've told my parents already, I'm no longer interested in this marriage. Go get, because in our place, during introduction, there is money you drop just as part payment to show that, yes, somebody is already there. So I said, that one you paid, go and collect. This marriage, I can't marry. Wow. And if they want you to marry by force from the family, my younger sister is available.
Why?
That was because of some things I noticed. Even though the courtship was over phone, I noticed those things in his character. Then again, I sat after graduation and I told myself, why should I now rush because of my dad's attitude? I think my senses started coming back then. So I said, no, it's not as if this person is even that good because of the flaws and the things I noticed. So I decided to call it off and I told him that. And I think he left the house. He left, nobody heard from him again. He switched off his phones, nobody could reach him. So my mom had to call my dad. And I know as usual, and the next thing would be to beat me, then tell me, pack your things and leave. So me, I already arranged my things. I already know it's the normal pattern. He has sent me out of that house more than I can't count. There are nights that only me will just be on the road, lonely road, without no help, looking for where to sleep. The next day, my mom will have to go and look for me with other persons. Yeah. So I had already packed up my bag. I went to see my closest friend as at the time. I went to her place to tell her, I'm leaving Sokoto. She said, where to? I said, I don't know. She said, what do you mean by I don't know? She said, another problem at me, because my problem, is a normal thing in the area. They already know. I said, yes. She said, but your marriage is closed. I said, no, I can't. Let me leave. I know once he gets home now, it will be to beat me and tell me to go. She said, where are you going to? And honestly, aside from when I travel to go see my in-laws, we don't even travel outside Sokoto. So there is no place I know, but I said, I will go. Let me go, I'm tired. So I went back home. I was surprised when I go home. I saw people in our compound. So many people. I was wondering what happened. My mom had collapsed. So they had to call my dad. She was rushed to the emergency unit of our teaching hospital in Sokoto that night. I went along with them. I slept in that emergency unit with her. I was just watching her as they were administering drugs to her. And I told her, is it because of this marriage of 18 that you now want to kill yourself? And she said, the disgrace is too much. That people already know that I want to get married, that everybody had already prepared. I said, okay, if it's because of that, don't worry, I will marry. Because what was just ringing in my head is, what if my mom had died? What would people say? You killed your mother. Yes. So I just told her that, I said, don't worry, I forgive everything. I will marry. That was what I told her. And that was how we did the whole, a day to the marriage.
The wedding.
Yes, to the wedding. My uncles, my aunties, all our relatives had traveled down to Sokoto. I was still not in talking terms with my dad. We're still not talking. So that day, they now organized meeting and now called me that, and Tina, come and kneel here and apologize. And I always do. Like I can't count the number of times I've kneeled before my dad to apologize. So that day, I had to now tell them, apologize for what exactly? Did I force them to give birth to me? At least if I'm apologizing, let me know what I'm apologizing for.
Yeah.
He does not like me. What else do I need to do? Then I say, for me to go to a husband's house with blessings, all this. So it got to a point that I even got angry. I said, if it's the marriage, you people should even get married. After all, I'm not even interested. So I was going, they had to hold me back. They say, okay, we should just leave the matter. No problem. The next day was the wedding day in church. My dad and I were dancing, but we're not on talking terms. It was just show off. I was even surprised. Like people were even coming to the house before them to say, hope this man will not scatter the whole wedding day. Not knowing that he didn't scatter it because he was happy that I was leaving his house. Yes. I was a bit relieved.
You were dancing and happy because you were leaving his house.
And he too, yes. So, I didn't know that. So after the wedding day, I think we were supposed to go back to leave Sokoto the next day. I was after Thanksgiving. We were in the hotel room where we lodged when I got a call from my in-laws. My mother-in-law was the first to say, what exactly did you do to your dad that makes him hate you so much? And I say, I don't understand. That was when I now realized that according to our culture, there are things that your dad is supposed to buy, like palm oil, food stuff. As you're getting married, going to your husband, that is supposed to be his own contribution. I think for like the first few months of your marriage, you're not supposed to buy anything food stuff. That is his own role. The other part, which has to do with kitchen utensils, everything, that one my mom covered up for that area. I didn't have any idea about that part. If not, I would have actually done it myself. I didn't know. So they called, only for them to get that there is nothing on ground. So when my uncle, which is my dad's younger brother, heard about it, he had to quickly call my in-laws to tell them that it's not as if they didn't buy you, that it is because of the stress of and the cost of transporting them from Sokoto that they actually bought, but they are in his house in Abuja. He lied, actually. I think I'm his favorite. My uncle is one of the persons that used to love me. I can't say love me anymore because of my dad. Because my issue also caused problem between them. So not as much as before, but that one helped me even through school, with school fees and everything. So it was that after that phone call, he sent money to his wife in Abuja to go to the market and get, and she got all those things. So we got married. We left too. We even went to him. Me and my husband knew before him, Then we left. I didn't know that after we had left Sokoto for Abuja. No, for Nasarawa initially. It was Nasarawa Toto we moved to initially before relocating to Abuja. I didn't know my dad was at home sending curses to us. I didn't know. I had no idea.
What?
I don't know. It was my younger brother that called me to inform me that he said all the dignitaries he invited to the wedding, that we didn't go to say thank you to them before leaving town. He said because of that, he said it will never be well with us. that marriage will suffer pain. And when my brother was telling me, I was even surprised. I said, but being my dad now, I know the kind of person he is. So I didn't take it serious. After then, I called him, he didn't pick. My ex-husband called, he didn't pick. So he was not picking our calls. We got tired of calling and we stopped calling. So a few months, I think, was it 1 month or 2 months into the marriage, I had serious issue with, he was living with 2 of his siblings, his younger brother.
Who is
before. That was my ex-husband.
in the
Before.
same house?
Yes, before we got married.
What was
I
the
didn't.
capacity of the house?
Room and parlor.
No. How many rooms?
Just one.
One room, one
And
parlor.
yes. Just one
And he had how
bedroom.
many people living there?
And then 2 persons living with him. So I knew about that before the marriage, but I didn't know. I thought he had made plans.
For them.
Yes, for them. It was after the whole thing I got there. He was now telling me that he has plans to go and get a place for his brothers. So not just as a good wife, because I grew up seeing my dad's younger ones live with us peaceful, and they lived peacefully with my mom. So I now told him, if you know you had this intention of getting them a place, why didn't you do that before the wedding? Now it will look as if I'm the ones, yes, sending your brothers away. So I told him to leave them, that will manage. And I didn't know that manage. I didn't know what I signed up for was something terrible. I could be watching the TV like this. They will just come, collect remote and change it. If I talk, they'll tell me it's their brother's house. Yes, it was that bad. I'll be cooking. They too. I go back to the kitchen. They'll drop my pot, put their own on fire. If I talk, it's our brother's house. So I was wondering. It got to a point that I had to vent to their elder brother. And we started having issues because of that. It got so bad that they will be disrespecting me in his presence and he will not see anything. If I tell you, are you not seeing what is going on? You tell me he doesn't want to say anything because of his mom, that they will call his mom to tell. It got so bad that they can barge into our room anytime unannounced without knocking.
Your bedroom?
Yes, even 2 a.m. at night. Yes. No knock, nothing. And he will not talk. So it got so bad that I had to caution them. You don't do that. Because even in our own house, before leaving my dad's house, you don't enter their bedroom. What are you going there to do? Then this one, no knock, nothing. And after I confronted them, they doubled it. So I now found out that they were doing it to get a reaction from me. So when I could no longer take it, I just told them, I beg, let me just go. So I called my uncle to inform me, him. And my uncles were like, marriage of just how many months? What is it? So they said no. And one thing they know me for in my house is they know I don't, even if you put gun to my head, I'd rather tell you the truth. Yes, I don't, no. You're lying, me and lying, no. So my uncle said, but they know that I don't lie. But how comes this guy that looked so responsible, how did he change overnight? They had to invite us to hear both sides. And before him, I said everything. And my uncle was amazed that he didn't even know I had such maturity. You understand? So, but later everything was resolved and we went back home. I don't know how my dad got to hear about it. If it was my uncle that later told him, the same dad that's not been picking our calls.
Yeah.
The moment he heard that, my dad called my ex-husband. We were together in the room the day he called. So he too was also surprised. He said, is your dad calling? I said, he said, why is he calling? I said, okay. So out of curiosity now, I said, put it on speaker. Let me hear what he has to say. So unknown to my dad, I was there. And my ex-husband still regret that thing too. If only he had known what my dad was about. Yes, he would have gone far away from me before answering that call. So he put it on speaker and my dad greeted him. They greeted. He said, you'll be wondering why I've not been picking you people's call, why I didn't call all this while. And he said, yes. He said, it's not that he hates the guy. that he heard you and Tina, that is you and my daughter are having issues. He said no, but they've resolved it. He said he's happy. Oh. That was what my dad. He said he's happy because he has been vindicated. Yes, this one is not that somebody told me. I was hearing it with my own ear. Yeah. He said he has been vindicated. That when I was in his house, people were saying he was the problem. That now that I've left, married that is not even up to 3 months, that will start having problem. That one thing I want to tell you, that girl, don't give her face to. Yes. He said, he said, deal with her very well. Like, I can't believe I'm saying this. And
Come again.
yes.
He was telling me
how to maltreat me. Yes. This, I said, it's not as if somebody called me behind. This is what my dad was telling my husband on the phone. He said, deal with her, that she has spiritual problem. That the thing disturbing me is not ordinary.
Can you try put it in his words?
Yes. He said, I will teach you how to handle Tina. Deal with Tina very well. He said, don't give Tina face. So if you give her face, that girl will override you. Deal with her. He said, now he has been vindicated. When I was in his house, they said he was the problem. But thank God, marriage that is not up to how many months, I started showing myself that, does my husband know the reason why myself and him don't see eye to eye? He said, no. He said, it's because of my wayward lifestyle. Yes. He said, hey, you should have asked about me now. That you should ask. Everywhere in Sokoto, where is it that they don't know me? That I like yes, that I want to behave like all these wayward kids, to have boyfriend and be following men up and down. That because he didn't allow me, that is the issue we've been having. He said, I know she's there. My husband said, no, she's not here. He said, okay. That is what I called to tell you. He was like, from his tone, you could tell that he was happy.
That you had issues?
Yes. My dad was so happy. I had to call my uncle. I broke down. I was crying. I called my uncle said, for what? Even if your daughter is the worst person on earth, even if she is a prostitute, but she has left your house. So they said, it's a lie. They had to call to confirm. And I told my mom that I was going to call. She said, it's your father. Don't call to tell him anything. He will curse you. I said, which one is remaining again? Let him curse me. But I will give him. I will tell him everything in my mind. So they stopped me from calling him. They had to call me then. He didn't call me to apologize or anything. And then I didn't know I was married to a mommy's boy. My husband had went out that very day, called his parents and told them. I didn't know. Like, the issue between me, his brothers, and him continued. All the money in my account finished. Because after marriage, we were barely managing to survive.
If I may ask, that one phone call from your dad.
Yes, sir.
Telling your ex-husband,
yes, sir,
how to deal with you.
Yes.
And painting you bad.
Yes, sir.
How did it affect your marriage? Did it affect your marriage?
Of course. That was the genesis of the main thing. Because before then, even when we have issues, there was nothing like beating. So he started beating me after that call. And you tell me after all, thank God your dad has taught me how to deal with you. Like, I was in that marriage for months. I didn't take in, I didn't conceive. It got to a point that even my uncle got tired. Because today, solve problem. This guy had my PIN. See, whenever we have issue then, he'll go and empty my account. He'll seize my phone. He'll delete all the whole numbers. So that I will not be able to call anybody. Because he knows that the person I call father, truly, was my dad's younger brother. That my uncle. Because that one, he doesn't joke with my issue at all. He will even hide my phone. So that as he's maltreating me, I'm not able to call anybody to complain. until it got so bad. It got to a point, Jesus, if you see me then, even if I tell you good morning, you will not want to answer. Even slippers to wear. I could not afford slippers. You empty my account, and it got to a point that whenever we have issue, no more food for me, he will give his younger ones money. They will cook, the three of them will eat.
In your house?
Yes. There was a day we were even inside. His younger brother was coming in. I told him, I said, I noticed that whenever your brothers are coming from the shop, they will go through the window to go and peep through the window first. He didn't believe me until one of them did it. And I was sitting by the window. I already knew that somebody was coming because I heard footsteps. And the moment he brought his face like this, he saw my face. He went back. When he got in, I had to tell his brother, ask him. He asked him, what were you doing at the window? He said he went to check something. And that was it. No conversation. And I said, is that it? He said he went to check something now. Like, he made me understand that his family was number one and everything. So it got to a point I could no longer take it. I didn't even call. Even my uncle got tired. Because for me to make my hair, I would need to go to my uncle's house. At times I will go there, they will now have to give me full stop. Because their own is, this marriage is too young. The shame, don't leave now. Just exercise little patience. So my uncle now said, anything you want, we'll be providing. You give me food stuff, give me things, you give me transport fare, you give me money to go to the salon, make my hair before going home. The moment I get home is to carry my purse, empty it. So when I could no longer take it again, I had made up my mind that I don't care about the shame. Let me just leave. So I packed my things. It got to a point that I started selling my wrappers to feed because they were eating and they would not give me anything. So I went back home. We're not talking. My dad was like, I cannot stay in his house. They don't know divorce. And I said, but I left your house. You still followed me to the marriage. You know you don't want me in your house. But you're not the one that called him to tell him how to maltreat me. Now I'm back. So it became, because in the past, my dad would beat me, talk. I didn't used to answer, even for me to look at him in the face. But at this point, I became fed up. So if he talked, me too will talk back. He was ready to send me away, and I was not ready to leave. And I was in Sokoto for close to 2 months. Their own is, people will now see me in Sokoto, marriage of when. Do you know that this guy did not bother to call? This is marriage that was not even up to, it was not up to 5 or 6 months. I left his house for 2 months plus. He didn't call. He didn't even bother. He didn't even make effort to beg, to say, let me come back. It was still my dad that now made effort to make him come back. Because when people came to intervene and I told them everything, they blamed him. Why will you go to that extent? He said it was out of anger. They had to force this guy down to Sokoto. When he came, I think the day they were supposed to have that meeting for reconciliation, they were outside having that meeting. And me, I just went to eavesdrop on them. I overheard my dad telling him that Tina does not have the right to say she will not marry, so long as he's alive. And you see, that only that word got to me. I picked up my bag. I was going out. They asked me where. I say, my dad already told him that I don't have right to say I will not marry again. Now I want to show you people that I have the right. You know, my mom started crying that she will kill herself, I say, every time. Because they know how much I love my mom. So I said, this time, me, I don't care again. I left. I was about leaving. They now called my uncle. That my uncle in Abuja. Because I respect him so much. He called. He said he too is not also in support of the marriage. But since my dad has pleaded, let it not be as if my dad cannot talk to me. He said they will give him rules as we are going back. Everything will change. I didn't want to. But I just had to give that my uncle respect. So I agreed. We came back. It was that same month that I took in. I didn't even know that I was pregnant. You know, all this sickness and all the being first experience. It wasn't, mine was so bad that even just toothpaste, I perceived toothpaste, it will trigger everything in me. Yes, and I was begin to vomit. It was that bad. And because of that, again, another level of maltreatment. Someone that did not allow me to work. He said I will not go to school, I will not work. That women, once they have money, it's difficult to control them. That was what he told me.
Your ex-husband?
Yes. He didn't allow me further education or work. But the moment he found out that I'd gotten pregnant, he said he was going to he said he was going to get me a job. And I looked at him and I said, "You're wicked." He said he doesn't want me to now start listening around that. What of those pregnant women that push truck? Me, is it Jesus Christ that I want to give birth to? This is first. And before I even took in, I remember then when people will come to resolve the issue, they will tell me it's because you've not gotten pregnant. That once you get pregnant now, his head will calm down. And now I'm pregnant. The thing doubled. There was not, I could wake up in the night and I would say, please, I want to take malt. Or I would say, I want to take Lucozade. But he said, it's not only Lucozade boost. Like, there was nothing. It got to a point that I could no longer tolerate it. So I moved my things again. I said I was going back home. His parents heard. They now called me that I should come over to their place. So I went. I didn't know they too had their own plans. That phone call that my dad made and my ex-husband narrated everything to them. I didn't know they too were waiting for the day I would visit so that they too would do their own. So I went in excitement that at least things will get better for me. I got there, I think about 2 days later. One of their relatives came in from Port Harcourt with his wife. So I saw all of them fasting, having prayers. Nobody involved me. So I felt maybe it was because of my condition.
Yeah.
Only for them, that particular day, they had that prayer in the morning. They called this woman prophetess. They were busy praying, you know, and me, I was outside because I was outside with, I think, their last born, yes. The kind of food I said I wanted to eat, that one was helping me to make. All of a sudden, the woman said they should call me. And I went in. Before my in-laws and all relatives, this prophetess said, she said, I belong to a kingdom that I've sold the soul of my husband to them in the kingdom for him to be killed through accident. And before then, I remember that because my ex-husband is a businessman. Up to now, he's still a businessman. So you'll be going for business trips. He will not tell me. Then we're still living in Nasara. You'll be going to Aba or Onitsha to get goods. You'll tell me he's going to Kefi that is coming. If I don't see him again and I call, you'll tell me something happened that made him not to return that day. Not knowing that he actually traveled. There was a day I went to his shop and someone asked me, what of Ghana? I said he went to Kefi. So the sales boy now said, no, he traveled. Traveled to where he said about to go buy goods. And that thing has been happening for like a very long time until the day this boy made this statement. So I waited for him. He got home. And I told him, so you traveled? He said, yes. Why did you then lie to me you were going to Kefi? He said, witch like you. Yes, that was what he told me. He said for him to tell me that he's traveling so that I'll not attack him on the way. So I didn't really read meaning to that until when this prophetess made same statement. She said, you're a witch. You belong to a kingdom. You've sold the soul of your husband to that kingdom for him to be killed. That I have the spirit of cat. I used to turn to cat. That my ex-husband would have died if not for the prayers of his parents that have been keeping him. She said I should confess and accept deliverance. I said confess and like I was shocked. I could not talk.
And you were pregnant?
Yes. I think I was barely 2 months or 3 months then, my first trimester. She said, better accept deliverance. Now, if not, I give you how many days, what will happen to you? Are you ready for deliverance? And I told her that you are a fake prophetess. If you were real, you would have known that I do not belong to any kingdom. You can't accuse me of such. So my mother-in-law now said, hey, you don't talk to a prophetess like that. So that you don't talk to people of God like that. All this. I could no longer take it again. So she now said, she gave me, I think, 10 days or 5 days, what will befall me. So I told her it will befall her children. I said, whatever you wish me, it go back to your children. So I went outside. I cried from that morning till evening. They were busy praying, and they were casting. They were casting me.
Oh.
Yes. They were inside the room. I was inside the compound. I cried from morning till evening. It was only my father-in-law that was now in the house then because he had gone to market for his sales. When he got back in the evening, he said, how comes people are praying inside, you are outside? I said, they told me to leave that I'm a witch. He said, who said that? And I told him, the prophetess. So when they finished, she was going. She now said, auntie, bye-bye. I say, witch, bye-bye. So all of them, how dare you insult a woman of God? I say, which prophetess of doom? So I was giving her reply and everybody say, oh, what your father said about you is true. I cried. I didn't eat that day. I didn't taste food, even water. The next day, same thing. They came, they talk. I said, I will not eat. You people have two options. You either give me money to go back to my father's house. Now that I've confirmed that truly I'm a witch, I either go back to my father's house or I die here with this pregnancy. And I promised them that I was not going to taste neither food nor water. They thought I was joking. I stayed there for 2 days. I didn't taste water, I didn't eat. My mother-in-law had good rapport with my dad. My dad, something about my dad is once you hate me, you are his friend.
Wow.
Yes. Relatives will visit our house, will come to visit, they will not want to talk to me because my dad will first caution them. Anybody that relates with me, he will disown that person. Used to say that now. So I heard her calling my dad. My dad said they should not mind me, that nobody should give me any transport. So I got tired. I just moved my things and I left their house. I didn't know anywhere in Benue then. I was just walking because I'm already used to always leaving the house now. From my father's house, any small thing, they send me out. So it wasn't anything new. I was sick with that pregnancy and everything. That was I was working until I think my mom heard about it. I think her relative now called me to ask where I was. So I told him. He directed me, gave me the address to their house, and I got there. So it was then the next day, I think it was my dad that was even giving my in-laws information that this is where I am now. They should come and get me from there. His own is that I should not come back to Sokoto. That was what he was after. So my father-in-law came and said I should follow him back home. That my mom's uncle now said, as elderly person, I should respect him. And I narrated everything to him. I said, I can't. What if something happens to their son tomorrow? And they say, it's me.
Yeah.
Because they already confirmed, yes, against me already. Except it's proven. I can't. I say, now I understand why he's been acting that way towards me. So the man said, yes, so what I said makes sense. That he cannot force me to go back. He said instead he should give me money truly to go back to my parents' place. So I went back to Sokoto. The very day I got to Sokoto, my dad said I must leave his house. I said, we die here.
Wow.
That was what I thought. I said, we die here. You didn't allow me peace here. Same
They
thing.
allow you to stay in your husband's house.
No, nothing.
You can't stay with your in-laws. He doesn't want you at his place.
I was in that Sokoto. My younger brother beat me up with pregnancy again. We just had little misunderstanding. Before you know, this guy carried me up, beat me so badly that I had wounds, injury all over my body. So as usual again, even the house is not, no peace anywhere. So I moved my things. And with the pregnancy hormones and everything, I moved my things again. I called one of my ND mates if I could come stay with her. No, before I moved my things, what really made me move my things? When my dad now, people were like, a pregnant woman, how dare you? Later, I think the way my brother acted, it was as if something entered him. Later, he regretted his action. But when my dad got home and he was told, you know what he said? He said, why didn't you get a knife to stab her?
Sorry?
Yes. That was what he said to me. He said, why didn't you get a knife to stab her? Is it that you don't know where they keep knife? And I said, so you are the one pushing him. Because of that, I said, okay, I'm no longer safe here. I had to go call police and I got my brother arrested because I was in serious pains. As we were going to the station, my dad told my mom, oh yeah, get into the car. Let's go. That is for my mom to go and bear false witness against me. And she followed. She was crying, but she followed. My mom is that type that even if my dad gives her a knife, stab this child, she will be crying, she will do it. Because they believe...
That's the definition of submission.
Yes. So we got to the station. The way my dad was talking, they now told him that, Oga, you have to calm down because if we are to handle this matter, this woman here is pregnant and see bruises all over her body. What if something happens to her or the child? This boy has no right, number one, his elder sister, a married woman and a pregnant woman, to raise his hand on her because he was trying to defend my brother.
Yeah.
So they had to caution him. So the police people had to tell me to let go. I said, no, I already let go because my brother already apologized, but it was because of what my dad said. Yes.
Let's fast track this a bit to some things you said about black tax.
Yes.
You heard my teaching on black tax.
Yes, sir.
And that brought you into something.
Yes, sir.
Can you run us through that?
I was in that house till the day I entered labor, yes, and I gave birth. Labor started midnight. My dad did not take me to the hospital. Actually, his plan was for me to die. It was neighbors and people that took me to hospital. We got back home. He didn't even touch the baby. He didn't come close to us. Some days later, my younger sister did something and I corrected her. He sent both me and the newborn baby out of his house. Yes. It was, this David you are saying, he has seen something. It was a neighbor that gave us a place to stay.
Wow.
I gave birth. I was in my parents' house. I gave birth for 3 weeks. My dad did not touch baby. Neither did he talk to me. The father of the child too did not come to see his child.
Wow.
For 3 weeks plus. People had to even start asking, what is happening? Thank God I was not pregnant before marriage, or I didn't get pregnant at all. Yeah. They would have said, okay, is your yeye waka. This one was legally married. He didn't even bother to call. But because they had sent me out of the house and the baby was finding it difficult to sleep, they now told me, oh yeah, maybe he's missing his father. He wants to see his father. That was how I came back. He didn't call nothing. I came back. He had already relocated to Abuja, just rented just one room, one single room. Because according to him, he said he didn't know that I would come back.
Wow.
And whenever he did anything, and I complained, you say, after all, I didn't beg you to come back.
You came by yourself. You
came by yourself. So it continued that way. The beating. Whenever he started beating me, you see David as little as he was then. Because David was 7 months and so on. You see him crying. Yeah. It got to a point that I could no longer take it. I had to go and file for divorce without even telling anybody. Even there in court, those judges had to tell him that if he dares to touch me again, that they will get him arrested. That was when, as a nursing mother then, you leave me without food. Oh. I used to drink up to like 4 cups of water to be able to breastfeed my baby.
Wow.
Yes, it was that bad. The church I was attending then, they heard about it. He has seized my phone, my ATM, everything. You empty my account. They will send me money. He will come, pick the money again. So he continued, even at the point when the marriage was dissolved. He told them to ask me that, where am I taking his child to? And I said, when I get there, well, why did he ask that question? Because he knows my dad already told them that I dare not come back to his house. I left. I'm getting to that black tax. So I left, went back home. It was beating. My dad would beat me. The beating I received in my father's house after my marriage got dissolved was more than what I was receiving in my husband's house. It was even my dad that made it known to everybody that it was with that beating. He will beat me, he will push my things. I said I will not go. It got to a point that neighbors will even be begging me that they will donate money and get me a place. Because he was threatening to kill me then. And I told them, if he's dead, what is it that I've not seen? Let me kuku die and go. It continued like that until I managed. I was working, still doing my awara. I now enrolled for HND. I managed with the help of my mom through back. My mom sold some of her wrapper without, I think you'll be hearing this for the first time, to help me too. That was how I was able. David did not start school on time because I had to go to school. The father was not sending even the money that court said he should be sending. So I finished. When I finished my HND, the pain and everything will not stop. It was then David's father now started calling to plead that if I want David to go to school, I should come back to Abuja. I said, but not for the marriage. He said, yes, the schools in Sokoto are too expensive, that he can't afford them. That was how. And I asked, will you get me a place? He said, yes. I said, okay, no problem. I wanted my son to go to school now. And the issue, like, I was confused on even where to stay. But I was not going back to the marriage, actually. Yeah. So that was how I relocated back to Abuja. This man, the place he said he rented, it was just floor. Not even rug on the floor. He said he knows me to be a very stubborn person, that on the only condition for him to pay David's school fees is if I will agree for us to get back together. I will have to go back to the village. There is this thing they call Ibegu in my culture. I will have to go and do all those ritual cleansing before we come back. And I refused because of that. The kind of suffering. I entered part 2 again. And I regretted coming back to Abuja. But Sokoto was not any different. Yeah. Even to feed David. The day his friends begging, he will give us 500 naira. Wow. That was how we kept managing until my NYC. Thank God. NYC came. I started managing that Alawi. To help myself, my son. The house we were staying, the day, I didn't know it had expired 2 months before the day I received message. He just sent me a message from landlord that the rent had expired and we should move out. Just like that, to where? Same time, David's school fees, he didn't pay. They were calling. All these things, let me just fast forward. That was how I managed. I think my life is a movie. There are things that I need to leave out just to meet up with time. So I finished for I think that a year plus or so in Abuja here. Nobody ever called me. My mom did not even dial my number. My dad did not. Nobody. So after our passing out, I think we were paid double alawi that period. That was when it was increased to 30 or 33. So they paid us double. And guess what I did with mine? Family that did not bother to call you. I used my own to buy foodstuff, things, all these things I know they like.
Yeah.
And I took David, we went back to Sokoto. Got to the house. The way my dad threw me and those things away, all my alawi that I was supposed to use for myself, he threw me. Even my mom too rejected the foodstuff because her husband rejected it too. So I think it was, yes, that was when coronavirus happened. So we were stuck in Sokoto. Could not come back because of the lockdown. Yes. We stayed with our neighbor for months. Even David, he was not talking to David. I don't know how all of a sudden, I think there was a day my brother came there, took David home. And that was how the relationship between him and David started. Me, he does not want to see me. But David now likes David. So it was time for us to go back. David didn't want to go. And he too didn't want me to go with David. Like my mom had to go and beg the person I was staying with to talk to me, to leave David. That the man is, my dad is fond of David, they should leave David. And I refused. I said, you can't hate me and like my child. So that was how they pleaded with me. I left David there. It was difficult for me because myself and my son, we had never separated for even 2 days before then. But I had to do it to see. Because everything people would tell me, maybe this one, his mind will calm down. Came back to Abuja. And we work. Because even financially, he wasn't doing well financially like before.
Your dad?
Yes, everything, like he fell from grace to grass, just to summarize his financial situation then. So whenever I want to eat, I will first remember, I would just want to eat. That thing would tell me, have they eaten at home? So I started making effort. Anything, if it's not that I had any job, I was just my business that I was managing. Any little thing I get, I will make sure I don't just send for David. I send for them. I think before then, we were still not talking. So even for my mom to even accept anything from me, we went for one of my uncle's wedding in the village. That was where people had to intervene, elders of the family, like to make peace between the two of us. He even refused. Even my uncle said it. He said one thing he has noticed is that the two of us cannot be in the same space. And my uncles told me that they warned my dad, though, before that marriage happened, that the place your daughter is going, they don't have good character. This is how they behave. So this, my ex-husband's character did not even shock them at all.
Wow.
That is how they are. And my dad said it to my face that, yes, it's because he wanted me out of his house.
Wow.
By all means. I cried, though. I said no. But they insisted. So I just had to give them that respect. That was how the whole reconciliation happened. So I went back.
Reconciliation with who?
With my dad.
Okay.
Our reconciliation doesn't last 1 month.
Yeah.
No matter who it is that intervened. So I started sending things home. And I continued like that. I was trying my best. I have younger ones who are matured. Nobody is a child again in my house. Our last born, I think, just clocked either 22 or 23. Okay, the way I'm managing, imagine having 2 other persons like me in the family. At least things will get better. And I'm this kind of person that I like to see young people pushing themselves. You know, this financial freedom. So I'll talk to my younger ones. Try get this. If you bring all those on, it's wahala, especially my sister, because that one is daddy's eye. She's daddy's favorite. And whatever she says, is always right. So I continued. Last year was, yes, I had major breakthrough in my business last year. Before last year, even where I was staying, the way I hustle, if you see me, you'll be like, I hustle like my life depend on it. I will hustle, work hard. But for me to even get myself a slippers is always hard. I used to have this neighbor that used to mock me because even I tell her, come and eat my food, come and eat with me. She'll tell me that my food is tasteless. And truly, I see cooking with meat as too much luxury. That I could not afford to do that because I have family who need help. So the one I'm supposed to use for myself, I'll send home. I continued like that. It got to a point that, and my business was shaking because the little money you're making, you are not reinvesting. You're just spending. And you cannot say this is what because I don't even look like somebody that is earning anything. I don't take care of myself. It is always family first, family first. And this family is not as if they like you like that. And I know. But I don't just understand that thing about me. So there's this particular time that I was to pay my rent. My rent was due. Each time.
Last year.
No, that was before even the last year. Before, that was what made me move from that place to where I'm staying currently. My caretaker came. I told her to give me few more, I think about few weeks. She came back. I had that money with me. I was about to pay when I think talking to my sister sent me a voice note crying that even 1 cup of rice for them to eat this. I could not bear it. And I told her, this is the last money with me. It's supposed to be for my rent, but we send it. I sent that money. Caretaker came. I could not afford to pay my rent. The next thing, I think I went to my cousin's place. That was when they called me that they had placed quit notice on my door. I came, I was giving, it was so shameful because we see you working hard, but you can't afford to pay your rent. You are not living well. So what exactly are you doing with money? That was how I faced that shame. I had to move my things from there to a friend's place before I was able to raise money to get. I suffered though, that period, but I never bothered to call home. What was still on my head was not even my own issue. It was still how to get more money, send home. So it continued on until last year. That was when I had major breakthrough in my business. A major breakthrough came last year. Yes, early last year. So I kept sending. Like it was so bad that my phone, because my business is mostly online. I don't have a physical or working shop. My phone is like more like my shop. My phone got bad. I will carry money to go and buy phone. I'll say, no, this phone is too expensive. They need this money back home. I'll not buy phone. I will send that money home for them to use until that phone finally crashed. Like, until I could no longer access my... So yes, that was when I now went. Even when I got there to buy phone, I could afford the big one, but I said, no, let me just manage. For me to buy phone of 200,000, it was as if I bought that phone. I could not sleep. That guilt. I was just feeling that guilt. This money could have been used for rice at home or something else. I managed. I even felt sick. It made me sick. Until I now traveled home. Because before they have been talking about David coming back, they will say no. So I went home and I went with money, actually. Aside the ones I've been sending and everything. When I got home, I discovered, truly no food or nothing. The first thing I did was to go to the market, stock up the house with food stuff and everything.
Yeah.
Then my business was already feeling the heat.
Yeah.
But I still managed. Do you know that it's that bad that even when I visit, one neighbors will be telling me instead of welcome is, when are you going back?
Wow.
Because they know if I stay 5 days in that house, there will be problem.
Despite being the one sending me.
Yes. My cousin started calling me. It's time for you to come back. The plan was for me to stay for like 2 weeks, then go back. But when I got there, I found the roofs were leaky, everything, like things had gone so bad that I was not happy and I didn't want to leave. I wanted to fix it.
Yeah.
That was my plan. Then again, and I said, instead of fixing it, why not relocate them from there? What are they even doing there? This same me that could not buy phone of 200,000 for myself, I saw my younger ones using iPhone, especially my younger sister. Yeah. You're in school. You're not working. You're not doing business. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but priority.
Yeah.
You're not online selling anything. So is iPhone the major priority for you? And that was how another issue started. I even made sure she made...
Did you relocate them?
No. I was about to, before the last fight that broke, yes, happened. My sister kept saying, my cousin, come back before you and this man will start again. I said, no, I need to relocate them. That was the plan I was making, just like that. I think during that election tribal, like talk that does not even hold water. Before you know, quarrel will start, fight will start. You tell me you are here again. You better come. You've come with your wahala again. It got so bad that he even stopped talking to me. So there was this day I became broke. That was how the money, because the more you're there, you're spending. It got so bad that I had to now, during the last distant quarrel, I had to now tell them, it's not as if I have plenty money. It's the one I'm supposed to use to help myself that I sent to you people. What is wrong in my younger ones joining me in doing this business? My dad now told me that, after all, nobody forced me.
Huh?
Yes.
Nobody forced you to
Yes, he said nobody forced me to help them. That even before I started sending money or anything to them, that they were eating, they were surviving. And even if I stop today, that they will still survive. They don't need me. That was what he told me to my face.
That was what you got into trouble for?
Yes, sir.
To the point of almost ending. You know, I said it in my teaching, that anyone who tries to become El Shaddai,
yes, sir.
It is an unfortunate African trend, and that's why it's called black tax.
Yes, sir.
It's a tax that almost everyone meets on ground. And somehow it's difficult to build transgenerational wealth because you meet problems on ground that you didn't create. It's an unfortunate thing. I want to let me ask a question first before I say what I want to say. Are you healed?
Completely. Completely, sir.
How did you heal?
That's why I'm able to sit here. I'm surprised that I'm not even crying. It's a sign that truly, because before I open mouth to talk, I'll break down and start crying. I got my healing at the point where I was about to end it all. Because there is one thing in everything I've been through in life.
Yeah.
I always have this consciousness of that there is a life after here. And I wouldn't want to spend my eternity in hell. That consciousness has kept me from doing things other people are doing. For you to be in Abuja, a single mother for that matter, nobody to advise you, no help, and still be decent, it takes the grace of God. So I've been decent and I'm still decent, not because I'm scared of anybody. I have the freedom to do whatever I want to do, but no, because of that heavenly consciousness. But it got to a point that I said, after all, the life I'm living here is already hell. So what difference will it make? Because I know killing yourself means automatic ticket to hell. There was no help. It got to a point that I could not even afford to pay my son's school fees. It was that bad. Then, all those words, all those things my dad said to me, even as a child, like they kept re-echoing in my head. You hear, you can never amount to anything. You will suffer. Oh, this is your own life. The devil kept telling me so many things, and I just wanted to end it. No help. As I am today, my father has not called me to say Happy New Year. Neither has my mother called me to say Happy New Year. Yes. And if I can stay like this for the next 20 years, nobody cares. Nobody. So, I just said, let me end it all. Let me end it all. So that thing, like, I didn't know that to stay alive became like a struggle. I was struggling because it was so intense. That urge to just take my life and leave, it was much. Every time I come online, I even started entering people's DM. Then again, I will look at my son. This boy has a very bright future. Yeah. Why take him along with me? Now, if I kill myself, who will now take care of this child? No, it's not as if the father cares. Now, yeah. I can't trust my family to do that for me. So I started looking for who will help me, who will adopt my son. I was in people's DM, like I'll chat people up, the one that will respond. Like I kept posting on my status. It was clear that these were suicidal thoughts. It was clear, but people will view my status and go mute. I was just posting things to see if maybe somebody will reach out just to help me. I was struggling with staying alive. I didn't know it was that bad. I didn't know that because I had fallen into depression. Yeah. So there was nothing you tell me that will make me. I just wanted to end it all. How do you explain this? No peace. Father house, same thing. Marriage, same thing. Only you. Everywhere you go. So I tried. Until I came across your teaching on black tax. I didn't even know, before then I didn't know anything about black tax. I've not heard anything about black tax before. And I listened to it. It was as if you were talking to me. I said, this thing is addressing my situation. Then I didn't even know the church was in Abuja. I thought it was in Ibadan. I will come online again. I will see another one. See, until I think I've forgotten how I got to know that the church is in Abuja. I just carried my son. I said, we are coming to this church. That was how we located Sphere of Life, Abuja. And I attended that first service. I went back home. I will attend service, so hear the preaching. Then I thank God for that preaching of black tax. But again, the damage had already been done. So how do I get out of it and get my life back? So that one again, another struggle. I was battling, I made SLC my home. I joined. I immediately joined service unit. Yeah. I'll be in the service. They will be preaching. You see me always smiling. But I was still having suicidal thoughts. The moment I get home, that thing, the urge will just, yes. Oh yeah, end it all. So was a battle until, and nobody knew because I didn't share it. I didn't say anything. Yeah. I remember, yes, that was when I made that attempt. And you called that phone call. I remember, yes, you invited me over. You know, you gifted us. Nobody is ever there for, I'm always there for my family, for people. But nobody ever does anything for me. You're the first person that gifted me. So I kept coming. I was troubled. At times it will be like remain in church because it is once I enter my house, the urge doubles until this particular Sunday. I didn't even want to come to church. At some point, I stopped coming to church because, yes, because it was as if you're going to church. How can you be under such ministration, yet you're still having this suicidal? So I concluded that truly maybe something was wrong with me. So I just kept coming. I kept coming until that day. That week, the urge was, I almost took my own life that night. I think that was that Saturday night. It was, yes. So Sunday, I dressed up, came to church, as usual. And the thought was, the moment I get home, we'll end it all. And then I had already concluded, since nobody to adopt my child now, we'll go together. While living to suffer same fate. So I had already made up my mind. I came to church. I think that was the Sunday you preached on. I think, was it trauma? I think it was trauma. I can't really remember that topic that day. It was as if you were talking to me. Everything you were saying, like, I just felt this heavy burden being lifted off me. Right there, I was just crying. I was just crying. I don't know. That was how depression, everything died.
Praise God.
Hallelujah, sir. Now thinking about it, it was really more than that. Because even if I had paid up the debt then, the peace, happiness, it was not there. I was already depressed and traumatized from Sokoto. So that was how I received my healing, and without laying of hands, just being under your ministration. And I want to use this as an avenue to tell people out there, it doesn't matter what you're going through. It doesn't matter. Church is where you should be. Just keep attending church service. Just keep going to church. It doesn't matter how long you've been battling that situation. The day your own appointed time comes, you will receive your own word. Imagine if I had missed Sunday service that day. I'm sure by now I would have ended it all. So I received my healing, everything totally. And I came to give testimony. I didn't know Apostle had other plans.
Okay. Wow. Let me say this to you. I've heard testimonies.
Yes, sir.
But whenever I look at you, I always say to God that if she is the only reason you send me to Abuja, you've done well.
Thank you, sir.
You've come a long way. You
Yes, sir.
absolutely don't look like anything you've been through. I mean, what the you I'm seeing now and the you I saw at first,
Yes, sir.
totally world apart.
Yes, sir.
You know, such a joy to see you living in freedom. Your life has displayed the fact that we can win.
Yes, sir.
We can triumph. We can win.
Yes, sir.
We can win.
Yes, sir.
We can win. And I want
Yes,
to
sir.
thank you for sharing your story with us. It
Thank you,
takes
sir.
loads of vulnerability to do this.
Yes,
And I want to trust God that if there's anyone who is going through something similar, you come to the awareness of the fact that, hold on a minute, there is light ahead of the tunnel.
Yes, sir.
You don't have to take your own life. You've been good to people and they turned their back on you, took your good heart or you feel hated everywhere you turn, just hold on. God is coming through for you. If He did it for her, He can do it for you. I want to thank you again for
Thank you,
being
sir.
with us on this episode of Stories.
Thank you very much, sir.
Until we come your way again, don't forget to like, to comment, to subscribe, and share with someone to be blessed as we listen to amazing stories from around the globe. God bless you so much. See you some other time. Have a great time. Bye-bye. Now I have allowed Miss Tina to go because I wanted to say this in her absence. One of the most, should I say what I desire so much whenever I look at her is that she will be much more empowered, particularly for the sake of her son. Yes, we bless God for healing. We bless God who has healed her completely. But I want to do something and she is not aware. She's seeing this for the first time. I want us to sow to her and help her get to the point where she will be there and strong enough to take care of her son. And what you are seeing on the screen right now is our direct account number, and I want us to give. I will be doing so personally, and this is me urging you to do so. We have never done this on this show before, but together we can make someone stronger. God bless you so much. Keep watching Stories.